This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
First News Binghamton, News Radio 1290 WNBF.
I'm Bob Joseph. Today is Wednesday. It's the midweek edition of Binghamton Now, and we look forward to speaking with you. Our number is 607-772-1290. Call us now.
WNBF.
And we welcome you to another big day of radio here from Radio Center, USA. And I trust that you may have a few things to say. It's getting exciting now. This is the day. This is the big day when the President of the United States will be able to speak freely with Donald Trump. And I'm sure Joe Biden will have a few things to say to Mr. Trump. So hopefully we can get complete coverage as the meeting gets underway. We'd love to have live coverage of the meeting. Haven't heard if they're going to have a pool reporter, maybe a radio reporter, TV correspondent, and a newspaper reporter, all in for the meeting. Should be productive and constructive, so we're looking forward to that. We'll keep you posted as the day unfolds. Hopefully it'll be a long meeting. Lots of information coming out for the masses. Let's start things off with a phone call, shall we? It's 9:12. Good morning. You're caller number one. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Here's your proof of life for today. It's John from Binghamton.
All right, thank you. It's always important that we have some sort of confirmation that you're well.
Yes. I was at a county committee meeting yesterday, and some interesting things surfaced. One is that the Willow Point Nursing Home director resigned. And this was a shock and a surprise to the legislators. They were not informed of this by the county executive. And they introduced a woman who I guess was employed by Willow Point some years ago in some capacity, and said that she was working on her credentials. And it was clear that she was the favored candidate that the Jason Garner cult was grooming for that position, but and then they went backwards and said that she was that the process was going to be open. Also, what surfaced, and they let me talk. Of course, they had no choice. Jason Shaw tried to make it like he was doing me a favor when the county's own website indicates that you can talk at committee meetings. But they were talking about the homeless, the hotels that are contracted here for homeless, and another couple of shockers, that all hotels in Broome County are now participating in this homeless housing in hotel rooms, except one that's not even open that opted out, and that's the one on Vestal Parkway there, University something or other. So I asked a couple of questions. Number one, I asked, how maybe people that have an empty Airbnb could get in on the action. But the other question I asked was that, since we're always talking about first impressions and traveling businessmen and how we can make this community better, I suggested that the guests that check into the hotels, the innocent guests, be informed in some way, sign or something, that the hotel is indeed housing unstable, homeless people, maybe some of them with some sort of mental quirk. And this didn't go over well with these Democrats. I mean, Susie Ryan said, "Oh, how could we?" And then,
well,
Kim
that's
Byers
I'm
said,
not
"Well,
surprised.
it would be a bit."
I can't see any lodging place anywhere in the United States putting up signs like that.
Well, in light of what happened a couple of years ago in the Hudson Valley, you may remember the fellow that was visiting the father that was visiting his son in a hotel and was murdered. I think that as a paying guest, and the rates have never been higher here for hotel rooms, you should be advised in some way, some fashion, be required to, that, hey, look, the people that you see here that you're going to be living with overnight may have some big time problems and may be dangerous. So proceed with caution if you want to stay here.
I just don't see how any business-minded community would ever green light signs like that, because it would seem to discourage people from staying at virtually every establishment. If I saw a sign like that made it seem that my safety was in question, I might decide to just go sleep in my car. So I don't see. Is there any kind of a signage requirement anywhere in the U.S.?
No, but I guess a citizen could make a sign and warn the public.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You're well, that as they say, that would be a problem.
Yeah. And one more thing, and Jason alluded to this on your program, that there's yet another economic development multi-million-dollar slush fund that he's created. But what he left out is that a former disgraced legislator who actually made the cover, or the New York Daily News, I don't know if it was on the cover, but he made the New York Daily News. He's returning to county government. Of course, his mother was county executive, and they are carving out of this $5 million or so, a nice position so he can catch up on his pension that he's missed, his pension credits and things like that. So it's always nice to know that no matter how far we move forward, that these people that have attached themselves to the public payroll must be reattached.
All right. Thank you, John. A lot of food for thought there for caller number one. It's 918 WNBF. Congratulations to Pete Hegseth. He, they say, will be the defense secretary. So congratulations. Always good to see people in the media being recognized for their talent. I see on Twitter, Pete Hegseth is well liked inside Fox News. So, and I'm anxious to see how he oversees DOD, Department of Defense. Pete Hegseth in charge. Congratulations. Morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Paul from Vestal.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, I just tuned in, and I see you're talking about the person I wanted to talk about. I happen to be a veteran, and I knew we were going to get into some really interesting, and I would say weird picks for the new President Trump coming in, but Secretary of Defense is going to be a Fox News commentator. I mean,
yeah, he was one of the gang, I guess, on the weekend edition. I don't know. I don't watch much TV on weekends, so apparently he was one of the club members for Fox Weekend Edition or whatever. So it says here on Twitter he's well liked and well respected.
That's nice, but that is not the qualifications that you look for to be Secretary of Defense. I mean, it's you've got the lives of the entire armed forces in his hands and making decisions. And to have a person with, he's been in the military, so have I. That doesn't qualify me to be Secretary of Defense.
Well,
and I think I'm well liked. That doesn't do it.
You're well liked among people in Vestal and your acquaintances and certainly relatives. They speak very highly of you. So maybe if for some reason there's a problem with Pete Hegseth getting confirmed, maybe you'll be the second choice. So I'm looking at one story here, and it just seems mean-spirited, this headline on Politico this morning. Who the bleep is this guy? Defense World reacts to Trump's surprise Pentagon pick. And here is what one veterans advocate said, according to Politico. And remember, they're probably a website that has an agenda. Quote, Hegseth is undoubtedly the least qualified nominee for Secretary of Defense in American history. That's what they say somebody said. I don't happen to see that person's name, but it seems kind of mean. I mean, he may. I mean, I know little about him. I have seen him before, occasionally on the Fox News Channel, and he seemed eminently likable. Out of all the people on Fox News Channel, if you had to rank him for likability, I'd put him up there in at least the top 20. So, likability, that counts for something if you're going to be running DOD.
It counts for very little.
I don't know.
You got to know. I mean, you're going to be in charge of a very sophisticated and organization.
Yeah, you're going to oversee an organization. I think, what did they say? Over 1 million people? I can't remember. I was driving into work, and I'm thinking, wow, I knew the U.S. military was a big organization, but whatever number was cited in a newscast, I said, that's a lot of people for a guy who had been part of the weekend team at Fox and Friends.
Well, he might be a wonderful man and a nice commentator.
They say he's smart. He is extremely well educated.
Yeah, and he's not worked himself up to the rank. He doesn't know the intricacies of running such a huge and complicated organization, as well as the dangers. And this is just, unfortunately, one of the things that we were, when we were voting, was concerned that we were just going to get yes people from Trump who just vowed their allegiance to him, regardless of their credentials, regardless of their quality. That is, and since Trump, even though he was a draft dodger, loves to talk about and philosophize about using the military and wants to have the ability to just, as he sees fit, which is his right as commander-in-chief, just knock off 3- and 4-star generals.
Yeah, I find that of concern, Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know where to begin to even consider running the U.S. military for the next 4 years, but
well, why not? You're a commentator.
Actually, yeah, but I have no military experience. So Pete Hegseth, as a person who served in the military, definitely has, in that respect, he's better qualified than I am, because I have never served in the U.S. military. But I would like to say that, and most listeners would appreciate, I do have more than a fair share of common sense, so that would count for something too. And I've never had to work with Janine Pirro, so that counts for something. I would think. Of the
things that are happening so far, which I'm sure it's going to do one thing. It's going to have a lot of business for people in the radio and other media to talk about.
Well, that's what I said. I've said for the last at least 6 months, maybe longer, and this was not meant to be an endorsement, but it was meant to be an affirmation that if Donald Trump won, that would be great for me and great for all talk show hosts and commentators on radio, TV, and online because you never run out of material. I mean, just look at the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things when I woke up this morning. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe I saw the thing on Twitter last night about this, and I said, "Oh, good, we have something to talk about." I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Thank you. These are interesting times, and WNBF is here with you every step of the way. I'm Bob Joseph, live on a Wednesday morning. This is Binghamton Now.
Providing you with the best solutions of your lifetime. The KSO Insurance Weekly Spotlight with Karen Sweet O'Neill on News Radio 1290 WNBF.
And this live segment is sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning, Bob. And you are good today, I'm sure?
Oh, great. I was reporting out a couple of stories. I stopped at one place. I won't mention what place, but within like 70 steps, I got 2 stories. So that's called productivity.
Called a hop in place.
Yeah. and who would have guessed? But it's the weird thing is, I hadn't even planned on it. You know how you just drive around and you look for news stories. Well, I found news stories, and so now I've got a couple of stories I can work on when the program's over.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Yes.
I like news.
Oh, the news.
I like to stay informed.
The news never stops.
It doesn't.
No. So, what do you have for us today?
Speaking of which, well, we're talking about the numbers came out, the new Medicare copays and deductibles for 2025, and we were looking. I shouldn't say looking forward to it, but at least we wanted to know what they were. And of course, they've all gone up, which we knew that was going to happen, Bob. They went up a little higher than we anticipated. So what are we talking about? Well, when you go on Medicare, there's 2 parts to it. Medicare Part A is the hospitalization part, and we've paid for it for most people in the country throughout our working years. So it's not a premium-based plan when you go on Medicare Part A. But Medicare Part B is the medical part of Medicare, and that is an income-based premium. So depending on where you fall on the income stream and whether you're married or single, and on how much it's going to cost you. So this year in 2024, and it's usually taken out of your Social Security deposit before it gets put into the credit union or the bank, however you have it submitted. And this year it was $174.70 a month. And we anticipated, probably around $5 more. Well, no. In 2025, starting in January, it will go up to $185 a month. So that's a pretty big hike, $10 a month, a little bit more. And the other parts of Medicare copay and deductibles are also increasing. So the Part B, physician services and supplies deductible of Medicare, this year was $240, which is a very modest amount. And that jumped to $257. Again, a pretty big increase. Skilled nursing, if you're in a skilled nursing facility and the first 20 days are covered by Medicare, then from the 21st to the 100th day, under certain requirements and regulations, the consumer may have to pay that 21st through the 100th day, and it was $204 a day this year, and next year it's $209.50. So again, everything's taken a little bit of a hike. So where's the good news, Bob? Because we like to talk about good news too and find it. And
that's all I want is good news.
It's good news, right?
Just good news.
Luck.
Give me the good news.
Good luck. So the good news is that the Social Security amount has been raised, the COLA, 2.5% for 2025. So what does that come down to? The average is going to be in your deposit anywhere between $35 and $45 a month. So if it's $45 a month that you're going to get in your check versus what it was last year, then you're going to take that $10 off the top, and so net around $35 a month. So that's what we're anticipating for most people. So that's a good. You're still going to net. You're still going to have a gain. Won't be as much because of the Part B, but at least you'll have a gain. So we just want people to be aware of it so that they can budget for it going forward. And of course, this is open enrollment, so we're just doing numbers, and products, and reviewing coverages and what have you. And we're seeing a lot of Medicare Advantage plans changing. A lot of people were seeing their coverages were dropped. Open your mail, because if you had a couple Humana products or United Healthcare, just for instance, and there's more than that, a lot of their Medicare Advantage plans have been dropped, and they have to send you a letter to let you know that. So January 1st, you don't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to the pharmacy, and then you have no coverage.
Oh, that would be terrible. Wouldn't that be
weird?
weird?
Be terrible.
Oh,
it would be. It would be terrible because you need to do that during this time frame, which ends December 7th. If your plan is dropped, you have until the 31st of December to change. But you know what? We like to get right out in front of these kinds of things because there's no sense in waiting. The plans aren't going to change that are your options. So just go ahead and make sure that you know where you're going and what plan you're going to have come January 1st. So how do you do that? Well, a lot of times we need to review your coverage. If you're happy with what you have and it's still a great plan for you, you don't change your coverage. You don't have to do anything. But you have to make sure that your prescriptions are covered and that you indeed know the difference in your copays from year to year, just to make sure, and your networks if you're in a Medicare Advantage plan. For appointments, and we have limited left, we are at 1708 Vestal Parkway East, up above Plato's Closet and Style Encore. You can reach us several ways for an appointment. You can give us a call at 607-772-4898. You can also Google us at KSO Insurance, and all our contact information comes up, including our website. You can make an appointment that way, or if you missed the phone number, we have a big display ad under insurance in the yellow pages.
All right. Important information as always. Now, if you go outside today, be sure to wear your best scarf and make it colorful.
I will.
Yes.
Have a good day, Bob.
Yeah. You too. Thanks. Karen Sweet O'Neill. That live segment sponsored by KSO Insurance Solutions. It's 9:34 WNBF Live Radio, where the fun can never stop.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
And at 9:35, it is my honor and privilege to welcome John Rizzoni back to the program, who joins us live in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. How's it going?
Great. How are things with Tri-Cities Opera? Are you keeping busy?
Oh, we're keeping busy. We're always busy. Yeah, they're great. We have a wonderful show opening this weekend. It's called All Is Calm, the Christmas Truce of 1914. And it tells the story of exactly what it sounds like, the Christmas Truce of 1914 during World War I, when the Allies and Germans put down their weapons and celebrated Christmas together.
And so there will be performances coming up on Friday and Saturday evening, as well as an afternoon performance on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. So we have our opening night is this Friday, the 15th of November at 7:30 p.m. Then on Saturday, the 16th, we're having what we are calling Veteran Appreciation Night at 7:30 p.m., which is the show and some other activities and support for veterans who would like to attend the production. And then on Sunday, we have a 3 o'clock matinee. And one thing I would love to mention is that for all the performances, through generous funding from Visions Federal Credit Union, Tioga Downs, Broome County Veteran Services, and also the Hoyt Foundation, we have free tickets for any veterans or active service members.
And if people would like to obtain complimentary tickets, if they fit into those categories, how can they do that?
Yeah, the best way, we're not able to offer that online, but the best way to do that is calling our box office at 607-772-0400. And you can get those tickets, and we can set you up, if you have any other people who want to come with you, we can sell those tickets as well. But as I said, veterans and active service members are free to attend this production.
Let's talk a little bit more. Give us a little more background about All Is Calm, the Christmas truce of 1914.
Absolutely. So this was the first year of the war, and the production really deals with... it takes you on a journey basically from when these soldiers signed up to join the fight, how they thought it would be over by Christmas, and then how it ended up going on for, a full 4 years. And the piece is actually all a cappella music. It's a cast of 9 tenor and bass voices. It's pristine and gorgeous, haunting music. Also celebratory. I mean, there are fight songs, Christmas carols, folk songs that are all incorporated into the score. But I think one of the coolest things about this, the most interesting and wonderful things about this production is that all of the text, all of the spoken lines are words from letters of soldiers who actually lived this experience. So it's a historical piece, but it's woven together in such a way that really celebrates this story and also, lends light to the gravity of serving and the position that soldiers, veterans, active service members are put in, where, of course, they are humans capable of such love and hope and capable of having peace, but they're in a position where they are called to fight for country. And, while there are no veterans, American veterans who were a part of this, because it was before America got involved there, it really, I believe, tells a story that rings true for the veteran experience, and some of the things maybe they didn't fully understand they were getting into, some of those just challenging situations that our service members are put in. So we think it's an important story to tell, and it's part of Tri-Cities Opera's ongoing commitment to the veteran community, but also to the greater community. And how can we sort of expand the civilian population's understanding of the veteran experience so that we can all support each other better?
You were busy last night. I mean, and I know when it comes to live performances, things don't just get slapped together. You don't say, "Hey, everybody, remember we're doing our first show is Friday night, so everybody be here about a half hour before it starts." There is a lot of work that goes into preparing for a production like this.
Yeah, we've been rehearsing this for over a month at this point. And the show, for the past 2 weeks especially, we've been rehearsing 6 days a week, really trying to get this on its feet and do it justice. And the production is essentially symbolizes the trenches of World War I. There's a few little surprises, a few little festive surprises within the production, but it is kind of stark. I mean, this was a dark time in world history, and so we wanted to be respectful of that, but also sort of celebrate what's possible when people are able to set aside their differences. And even if we go back to fighting, which they had to do, there's hope there. And I think just meeting people where they're at, being able to appreciate the humanity of others and find what is in common is, I think, a message that we all need to hear right now.
If people would like to get tickets or get additional information about this weekend's performances, what can they do?
So if you go to tricitiesopera.com, right, the homepage image is All Is Calm. You can click through and learn more about the production. And one thing I just wanted to mention, as far as the Veteran Appreciation Night, some of the resources we have available, at all performances, we'll have a table of literature from various veteran support groups that we're collaborating with, including Clear Path for Veterans, the Vet Center, the VA, Broome County Veteran Services, and also Southern Tier Veteran Support Group. So there will be those materials at all performances. But on Saturday night, we will have actually representatives from those organizations in the lobby, helping make people aware of resources that are available for veterans. We'll also have a counselor on hand in case anyone is triggered, whether veteran or civilian, by the content of this production. And we will do a talk back after the show, which will include sort of the creative team, but also the Tri-Cities Opera Board Chair, who is himself a retired Army colonel. So, we want to tell these stories. We're committed to them, and I'm excited to continue this into the future. This belief in the importance of telling veterans stories.
So the performances will be at the Tri-Cities Opera Center at 315 Clinton Street in Binghamton's First Ward, Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and then Sunday afternoon at 3. All is Calm, the Christmas Truce of 1914. And as you said, more information is available at the Tri-Cities Opera website. And also, if you'll give the phone number one more time for the active service members and veterans who may wish to obtain free tickets for the upcoming performances.
Absolutely. It's 607-772-0400. And, this was intentionally programmed at Veterans Day to really say thank you. So thank you all for your service. We appreciate you. And there's a place for you at the opera.
John Rizzoni, Tri-Cities Opera, thank you for being with us.
My pleasure, Bob.
It's 9:43. You're listening to News Radio, WNBF. This is Binghamton Now, 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, online at WNBF.com. 9:46. Let's go back to the Binghamton Now phone lines at 607-772-1290. Gary on Binghamton's west side. Good morning.
Good morning, Bob. I love your bumper music, but you haven't played like one of the most popular songs that they play on the radio, or mostly on TV now. And I've never heard it for your bumper music. Kind of goes like, oh, Ozempic, we know. I mean, we can't avoid that song. It drives me crazy. Hey, I wanted to mention one thing, right? So it is a difficult time of the year for older people to get their prescriptions and decide what. And Karen Sweet O'Neill has a great service that she does. It's really great. When it comes to pharmacies and prescriptions, Bob, if let's say you can't afford to buy a plan, you're not totally out of luck. There are a couple of things you can do. And if you don't mind, I would just like to tell you two things you could do. You could go to GoodRx. That's a free service, totally free.
And who runs it?
You just get a GoodRx. It's a
No, I mean, is it
company.
Is it a civic organization? Is it somebody who cares about people, or who is GoodRx?
GoodRx has been around for a while, Bob, and it's a free service that if you don't have a prescription plan, you could go through them. And what they do is they go through the drug prices and they try to find the lowest prices, and they give you free coupons to use when you're at the pharmacy.
How did they make money?
That I do not know.
I'm looking at it online. It said
It's fantastic.
GoodRx Holdings. GoodRx Holdings Incorporated, an American healthcare company that operates a telemedicine platform and free-to-use website and mobile app that tracks prescription prices. Oh, you're right, and provide coupons. I want some.
I tell you what, Bob, it's a lifesaver. Now, I
Okay.
have insurance, and I was like, boy, that price is a little high. I tell the guy, and he goes, oh, you can try to GoodRx. I try to GoodRx price, it's lower. Another way also, Bob, is costplusdrugs.com.
Before you go further, I just want to say,
yes,
there is controversy surrounding GoodRx. Consumer Reports published an article stating GoodRx shared user data. Of course they did.
So to share user data.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Well, let's
so
see.
right, like
It said in March 2020. Okay, so it said in March 2020, they stopped sending data about users' prescriptions to Facebook. But why were they sending data about my prescription. Well, I don't use GoodRx.
They were probably making money.
Okay, well, that's why that's why I wanted to know how they make money.
Yeah.
Then last year, the Federal Trade Commission fined GoodRx $1.5 million for violations of the breach notification rule and the Federal Trade Commission Act for allegedly failing to obtain specific, informed, and unambiguous consent from users before disclosing health-related information to Facebook and Google. So just so people know, and that's why when you first mentioned it, the first question I had, well, if they're sending out coupons for prescriptions to good people like you and me, then how do they make their money? Okay, obviously they have to make their money somehow. Continue. What was the other option?
Cost. You can check this one out. I just it was cost plus. I went dead here. I gotta put my thumb over the doohickey thing here now. Okay, so it's cost plus drugs. I know it's Mark Cuban's new pharmacy.
That's I just punched it up. It says homepage of Mark Cuban.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah.
And you put your prescriptions in, whatever they are, and you can see if you can get them cheaper. It's free, Bob. I'm just here to give solution.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I always want, I always want to give people a more complete picture. Always do your own.
Absolutely.
Do your own research.
Right.
Because you don't want to inadvertently find out. They had another thing. This is not directly related, but this company that used to do DNA research, and now they're on the skids. They're on the way of crumbling. Me and 23 or 23andMe. And so they're on TV today on the news, and they're saying, oh, yeah, the company has lost something like $6 billion in value recently. So it looks like they're on the verge of imploding and maybe sold to some other company. And so the concern that they were discussing on the news this morning was a new owner of 23andMe might wind up using the personal information that people gave over to 23andMe, thinking that maybe it wouldn't be shared with anybody, and now it might be shared. So you always have to, as they say, be careful.
Well, it's been shared in the past, Bob. It has solved crimes, 23andMe, because
I know, and it's controversial because sometimes, and I'm not saying crimes ought not be solved, but sometimes without certain people really being aware, it's like, oh, thanks a lot for you used my DNA information I gave to 23andMe, and now
you had to catch a relative.
Yeah, my uncle Jeb now has been implicated in 25 unsolved killings, and it's like, I mean, Jeb should pay the price, but now he's really mad at me because it's thanks to the DNA I gave to 23andMe that he's going to go to what do they call it? The prison, the old Gray Bar Hotel. Yeah,
big house.
Yeah, the big house. So
I know.
Anyway, so what else?
It's crazy. So here's what, Bob. So I'd like to say this too. Okay, so the defense secretary that Donald Trump just suggested he's going to be in charge of the defense. Okay, I'm not going down any rabbit holes for who Donald Trump picks. I'm not going to do it. Okay, I'm just let him pick whoever. If he wants to pick the pillow guy for the Secretary of Defense, I don't care. I'm not going down the rabbit hole. I'm going to see what happens. Let's see what he can do. I'm just not going there, because it's going to be a nonstop thing of whoever he picks. It's the Democrats' job to say that's not a good pick. That's what they do. Just like if Kamala was in there and she was picking people, the Republicans would be saying that's not a good pick either. So, well,
that's part of the fun of a transition that we as Americans get to weigh in. I mean, that's what we look forward to every 4 years, to be able to weigh in on the incoming president's choices, and I don't think that's wrong. And here's another one.
Wrong.
The next press secretary, Alina Habba. Whatever, Donald Trump's lawyer, and they say she is the front runner.
Oh, no.
Yes, that's what they say. Now,
the blonde.
No, she's not blonde. She's not blonde, and she might be, to be fair to her, she might actually turn out to be a good press secretary. And again, these are just stories. These are stories based on sources say, so this may or may not be true. The sources could actually be her for all we know, talking to her friends in the media. And hey, who knows? The thing that bothers me is here I thought I was in the running, and I'm looking at all these speculative stories, and none of them, whether it's the New York Post or the Hill or Mediaite, none of them mention my name at all as being under consideration. So maybe Donald Trump will surprise all of America by announcing somebody from Binghamton is his choice. Yeah, well, he's the one.
You would have been on the Kamala. You would have been on the Kamala list, I think.
I might have.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
Yeah.
Bob, you know what they do now in the media? They say, like with the defense secretary, they say CBS News can now confirm that whatever his name was confirmed the defense secretary. It's now they confirm it.
Sure. That's the way the media. See, usually it starts with a single report, oftentimes, say, the Washington Post or the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. So some reporter has a source who whispers in her ear and says, it's going to be Pete Hegseth. And then suddenly it winds up on Twitter. And then suddenly the reporters from the New York Times and the LA Times, the New York Post, they call their sources who say, oh, yeah, I saw that too. So I can confirm that Pete Hegseth is a likely choice. So it's sort of an echo chamber. Just like last week when the Washington Post perhaps erroneously reported that Donald Trump had talked to Vladimir Putin by phone. Well, the Washington Post reported it based on some source, and then suddenly, an hour or so later, lots of other news organizations were claiming they had confirmed it. And then I think in a matter of hours, people with the Trump team denied that a conversation ever happened. And some people, I think, even in Russia said it didn't happen. So who knows?
Okay.
Who can you trust? Gary, who can you trust?
One last thing, and I'm not picking on you, Bob, but I did hear you say earlier this morning that when the guy said, oh, maybe they'll pick you for something, you said, well, at least I have common sense. And I was like, I went back to you.
I know. Big mistake. Hey, that's all the time we have right now. Thank you. I immediately regretted it based on what transpired yesterday. More coming up. This is Bob Joseph live on WNBF. It's 10:10. WNBF. Could say 10:10 wins, but what would you win? So 10:10 WNBF. WNBF. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Matt from Binghamton.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am well, thank you.
I'm in between raking leaves. I'm listening on my noise reduction headphones, so I thought I'd come in because I heard a couple things this morning on the program. Look, the Lloyd Austin to a Fox News person, Pete Hegseth, is the scariest thing that's ever happened. But here's the deal. John from Binghamton yesterday, he was like, the only way we know that the fix isn't in is if Rick Scott gets to be the Senate Majority Leader. The reason he said that is because Donald Trump is demanding that the Senate do all these recess appointments. That means a guy like Pete Hegseth, if he gets his way, would be able to be appointed for several months before he has to go through any hearings. And obviously, the whole purpose of recess appointments was back at the start of the Republic when nobody had cars, nobody had airplanes, nobody had any way to get to then New York City by it would take them weeks and weeks and weeks. So that's why they had recess appointments, so to fill that gap. But now they're trying to use them in a nefarious way, and they're going to try to. And that's why Rick Scott is the only one of the three people that said he would support Trump's, so far, he's the only one that said he would support the recess appointment thing. And he's also, Donald Trump's trying to stop anything that the current Congress could do to make appointments, which, by the way, he famously, after what they did to Obama's appointments, he famously put in somebody in the last 2 weeks of his administration, the final Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, who could change the whole history of the Supreme Court in our lifetime. So those are the things that are going on. And to have a guy like Pete Hegseth, I mean, it's just, dare I say, it defies logic.
Well, but he's likable. And so that might be one of the reasons. Yeah. Maybe he's more like it seems. Okay, I think he might be more likable than Lloyd Austin. Be blunt.
Okay, but likable is not what you need in that position. And here's the other part I wanted to say. I'm glad you brought it up. He's likable. No, why he's likable as Donald Trump is because you remember how many former generals and stuff said that Donald Trump shouldn't be anywhere near the White House again. People he hired that dealt with him. That's why he's doing this. He's bringing in a total outsider to prove that he can destroy the military and destroy and do whatever he wants to the government, which he's going to do, also try to do with, as I mentioned the other day, he's going to try to do with civil service. He's going to create the deep state that he claims he wants to end, because when you don't have real civil servants in positions that don't care about politics, that are doing their job because they're doing it appropriately. And that, that speaks to, we're going back to Ann Gorsuch days. By the way, her son's the one that's Supreme Court justice, when she was appointed EPA administrator to destroy the EPA. That's what's happening with, what's his name, who ran for governor.
What about Elon Musk? He's going to be in charge of the Department of Saving $2 trillion. So that should mean big savings for U.S. taxpayers.
Well, so it comes out that if they're forming a new department, that has to get approval of the government. But if you have these recess appointments, again, we're going to just have him put in people in place without any screening of who they really are, what they're all about, to the American public, which you just got done saying that's the exciting part and a real important part of our government. That's not going to exist. And that's why John from Binghamton wants Rick Scott in there, and that's why the fix is in. And so we can't allow this to happen. And I hope there is a secret ballot today to pick the Senate leader, the next Senate leader, and I hope Republicans realize that they don't want to go down that path, because it's going to lead to the kind of chaos and that we don't need. We're already going to have chaos when. Oh yeah.
Trump, some chaos is inevitable. I know that, but yeah, I don't want complete chaos. Just enough to keep things interesting, but not to, I mean, seriously, not to drain the entire swamp. Appreciate your call. No, it has to be interesting, because I'll tell you, the minute that things stop being interesting is the minute I stop coming in to do this program. I want, most of all, every day to be interesting enough that we have enough new material to prompt people to call in to offer their insights and respond. If it's boring, what's the point? And that would have been perhaps the biggest downside of Kamala Harris being president for the next 4 years. It wouldn't be nearly as interesting. Certainly not from a radio and TV standpoint. Morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning there, Bob. It's Dave from Vestal. Let the whining begin. That isn't why I'm calling, though, Bob. Not about the sour grapes from the last call there. But the reason why I'm calling, Bob, is we had a discussion on Veterans Day, and we were talking about homeless vets. And, I saw an interview with that Frank Siller, the CEO of Tunnel to Towers. And I assume that what they did would take care of vets. They were disabled, so they built them houses around their disability and take care of mortgages of wives who lost, they lost their husband in war. I know they do all that because I've donated for that reason. But when I was watching his interview, Bob, they actually take care of homeless vets, Bob. He estimates there's around 35,000 homeless vets in the country, and their goal in 2025 is to take care of 10,000 of them, and that's quite a few. They will get you, Bob. If you get a hold of them, they will get you off the streets. They'll give you help that you need, whether it's mental, physical, health-wise. They will train you. They will get you training, help you get a job. They will do all that, Bob, free of charge. And if there's any homeless vets out there, I doubt they're out there with a radio, but if you know of any around, let them know about Tunnels to Towers. Get a hold of them, and they will help you.
All right. Well, that's a good thing to say on the radio.
Just wanted to get that out there, Bob.
All right.
Because, I think about them a lot. Take care.
Thank you. It's 10:19 at WNBF, WNBF.com with the Bob Joseph Show, also known as Binghamton Now. Oh, I know. We didn't do the weather yet. Somebody always wants the weather. The weather people want the weather. The weather people want the weather. There's no need to whisper. After all, the weather is not exactly a state secret. The weather is out there for all to enjoy. These brilliant blue skies. So here we go. Once I punch in my weather access security codes. Well, you can never be too careful because a lot of people are trying to gain unauthorized access to the Binghamton forecast. Here we go from the National Weather Service. Sunny today, high 50, increasing clouds tonight, low 25, mostly cloudy tomorrow, high 47, and mostly sunny on Friday, high 52. Right now, it's 34 in downtown Binghamton, 1 Celsius. And the air quality is simply good. Really good air quality. Very, very good air quality. So apparently the number is so low, it isn't popping up on my screen. Don't worry, it will probably pop up on the screen here, the air quality index, which often pops up instantly, but apparently today, we'll just say the air quality index right now is really good in Binghamton. So breathe some air. If you're a kid, go out and play. Put down the video game or whatever it is you're doing. Get outside. Get outside and do something. Accomplish something. Oh, and of course, bring your radio with you or your listening device. If you're listening using the free WNBF app, or if you're a person my age, listening at 92.1 FM or 1290 AM, or even streaming at WNBF.com. It's 10:24 as we return to the busy phone lines. Beverly from the town of Dickinson, good morning.
Good morning, Bob. I have a question for you. I was listening to the insurance lady. Did she say that the insurance companies are going to tell you how many times you can go to the doctors?
Well, I think she may have said that. I think that was part of it, but it might vary based on different situations.
I just thought I'd call and ask because, I don't go all the time. I just go when I have appointments,
Right.
But,
well, and as you should. I mean, you should always go when you have the appointment.
Tell you this. I was in an emergency room several years ago, right? And they brought this woman in. And I guess the security guy said to her, "This is the 7th time you've been in here." And the next thing I knew, the police were there. So I think they arrested her, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they probably didn't arrest her, but if she was, they call in the business, they call some people frequent flyers, and they show up at the hospital more often than really is necessary. And if they're tying up an emergency department,
seven times in one day, and if you don't take the person, then they can sue you.
Well, therein lies the rub. I mean, if you're running a hospital, there's a fine line between serving people who really need help, especially if it's an emergency department. You don't have unlimited resources, and yet, from what I've been told, some people show up and they don't necessarily go to a regular doctor, so they don't have appointments for their routine health checkups. And then when something happens, they get a cold or maybe a hangnail, then they show up at the emergency department, and that's not what the ER is for.
No.
So, it's a tough thing because, as you know, and I'm sure you've experienced it, sometimes, especially maybe at night or on weekends, when the emergency department is really slammed, they have to prioritize patients and help the people who are in greatest need first. But that means if your situation is still serious enough to be at the hospital, but not really, really serious, you could be waiting for several hours.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm.
I was coming into the house and I fell backwards. Well, one of my neighbors saw me fall, and he come right over, and I said, "Just get me up," and he says, "No," he says, "I'd like you to go and get checked out." Well, I did, because when I fell hard. So, but they found out that that I was just bruised. So that was.
Fortunately, you weren't badly hurt, but I'm sure it made sense to go to the hospital to make sure there weren't serious injuries.
You're so sick, yes, that's understandable.
Yeah, as I say, as far as hospitals, all departments, but especially emergency departments, they're not easy to run. That's why not many people run hospitals. Have you noticed there are very few hospitals anymore?
Yeah, there's only, well, I think UHS is the biggest.
Well, they're quite big. I know I drive around here and I see a lot of UHS locations, then I see some Guthrie locations, and you keep driving, sometimes you'll see some other things, but just goes to show healthcare is a lot different now than when I was born.
Yeah, that's true. No, I just thought I'd call and ask you, Bob. I
don't know specifically about the changes, but I'm sure they have some limits to control costs.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem. Medical expenses, especially every time you go to a hospital, it adds up.
Medical insurance, Bob, just to walk in the door would cost me $125.
Yep, I know. It's not cheap. Appreciate your call.
Okay, bye-bye.
It's 10:29 WNBF. This is the Cost Containment Show. We're working to contain costs, and then we'll pass on the savings to you. So hopefully we can trim costs by between $1 and $2 trillion over the next year without harming the services you've come to expect. I think that's reasonable. We will trim up to $2 trillion from the budget without harming the services you know and love. It's 10:30. This is the big program, the Big Binghamton Now Show. We'll be taking more calls between now and noon, 607-772-1290, if you would like to talk on the air at WNBF. And we are here for you, so don't you forget it. Weekday mornings 9 to noon here at WNBF. It is now my honor and distinct privilege to welcome to the program Donald Trump. Welcome back.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering. Isn't it nice to win? It's nice to win.
Thank you. Donald Trump back on the program. And you know, WNBF, it used to be 12.9 radio or 129 radio. Remember that? Now it's 1290, but back in the day they called it 12.9 radio or 129 radio, back with the old radios. Remember the 129 radios?
Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering.
What? I said the 129 radios. Aren't you going to play along? Not the 1290 radios or the 12.9 radios, the 129 radios.
So they say the 129 years, the most important election in 129 years. That's pretty good.
That is good. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thanks for being back on the program. I know you're very busy, and hopefully we can have you back on the program again real soon. Real soon. As far as Pete Hegseth, unfortunately, he is unavailable to be on the program at the moment. However, we do have good news. There is good news to report. Although the new Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, is not available to be on the program, fortunately, outgoing Secretary of State Antony Blinken wishes to participate, and Antony Blinken, I know, is vowing a very special response to North Korean troops who are fighting for Russia in Ukraine.
It's also a two-way street. The relationship between Russia and North Korea is working in both directions, and there's deep concern about what Russia is or may be doing to strengthen North Korea's capacities, its missile capacity, its nuclear capacity, as well as the experience that the North Korean forces are getting.
And that's why it's so important that Donald Trump speak with both the leader of North Korea and, of course, Russian President Vladimir Putin quickly. Hopefully, Mr. Trump will be able to speak with them today and get a few things straightened out, because it's clear what is happening now with the North Korean military now aiding and abetting Russia. This can not be tolerated.
We see now the introduction of North Korean forces into the fight. And this is a profound and incredibly dangerous development in two ways. First, of course, because it's adding fuel to the fire for Russia's aggression against Ukraine. And that's of deep concern to everyone around the NATO table.
Very deep concern, almost as deep as one of those deep dish pizzas that you can get at participating locations. It's 10:36. Let's take a call. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Vestal.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome back, my friend.
Well, I haven't been here in a long time. I may be a different Bob.
Yes, but all Bobs from Vestal are great. What's on your mind this morning, Bob?
Okay, you have told us in the past, I've listened for a long time, the whole time you've been the host. You told us that you're a journalist, correct?
Sure.
And you graduated from what university, if I may ask?
Hey, I can be a journalist. Now, my question is, so what is the problem with the journalism that you get from WNBF? You tell me what problem you have with our journalism.
Now you're asking me a question.
Yeah, I'm asking you because I'm a journalist, and I've been a journalist in this town for decades, and probably one of the better journalists who still is inclined to work. So when it comes to journalism, what's the problem?
Okay, I'll ask the question then. Did whatever university or wherever you got your journalism degree from, do they teach you that all former holders of the presidency are to be referred to as former president, whatever, Bush, Clinton, whatever. You have never once, I've heard, addressed Trump as the former President Trump. And now you do not address him as President-elect Trump. You just say Donald Trump. That's disrespectful. And it's also against your journalism teaching.
Now, you can refer. Donald Trump is president-elect. Donald Trump is a former president. But I can refer to him as Donald Trump.
No, well...
Yes, I can. Donald Trump isn't any more special than you or me. He's just one of us. He's an American citizen. He was born in New York like I was born in New York. So, in that sense, we're equal. He's more beloved and he has a better job than I do, but that doesn't mean I can't refer to him as Donald Trump.
You're spinning it as you do it a lot.
Yeah, okay. Well, if this is the best you can do, then in my opinion, you're going to have to do a lot better. Donald Trump. There, I said it again. I'm going to keep saying Donald Trump. Sometimes I'll call him president-elect. Sometimes I'll call him the former president. But he can still be referred to as Donald Trump. He's just another American citizen who is as good as anyone else here on Court Street.
Of being former or president-elect. You never will because you don't like him.
Hey, don't say never, because when you say never, that's a lie. Have I in the past referred to him as former President Trump? Yes. Have I, since November 6th, a week ago today, referred to him as President-elect Trump? Yes. Do I do it all the time? No, and I won't.
Well, you never do it.
Oh, then you're lying. And I'm not going to go back over the tapes to prove that I have called him President-elect at least once or twice. I don't know how many times. But I can still call him Donald Trump because he's, whether he likes it or not, he's a native New Yorker. He lives in Florida now. And trust me, Donald Trump is not going to be upset if I call him Donald Trump or Mr. Trump.
I didn't say that he would be...
Okay, again, for purposes of this call, I'm going to say unless you have a real issue, the call will end because you've made your point. You're trying to make... I don't know the point. Disrespectful. Disrespectful? He's the guy who wrote the book on disrespectful.
It is disrespectful.
I'm saying he's disrespected many, many people over the last decade, or even over the decades going back to the years when he was a Queens developer. The guy has disrespected lots of people. So why are you lecturing me about calling him Donald Trump sometimes? Why aren't you lecturing him to show some respect to other Americans?
You're spinning it, and you want to throw attention off to someone else. I am asking you a question. I asked you a question in the very beginning, which you...
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So Donald Trump is going to meet with Joe Biden today. There.
Where's your journalism degree from?
Oh, my... Hey, the degrees have nothing to do with how I refer to Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Zero. Yes, Donald Trump spoke a few minutes ago. We heard a little bit of what Donald Trump had to say. President-elect Donald Trump. The 45th President of the United States and the 47th President of the United States. Mr. Donald Trump. 1042 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
The first Bob from that.
Oh, thank goodness. Welcome, Bob, the original.
Man, who is that guy?
I don't know.
I'll meet him down the Costco.
I know, enough already. Anyway, so what do you think? Donald Trump, he just gave a brief statement. Unfortunately, on my stack of stuff, I only have those two short little sound bites. I don't have his whole statement. If I did, I would run more of it, but the ABC hasn't fed the whole statement down the line. So what do you think?
I've asked you about your journalism credentials several times.
Yeah, my journalism credentials are just fine. You know, my serious question is, why is someone so sensitive about Bob Joseph calling him Donald Trump?
Oh, shut up about that. I don't even want to talk about that. Oh, listen to this. I heard you say something yesterday about with Tommy from Susquehanna. Hey.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, no wonder you usually hang up on me.
Why should I hang up on you? You just called in. So, yeah, we had toward the end of the program, we had a conversation with Tom in Susquehanna.
Yeah, and he was talking about pronoun. You're all for that. I don't know about you sometimes, I'm telling you.
What do you mean? You don't know about me?
J. Edgar Hoover wears a dress.
Well, he doesn't anymore.
Well, come on, you know what
I know what you're saying. I mean,
you're a freaky guy.
Well, it's an image that's difficult to get out of your mind once you picture it, but
I don't picture it.
Well, yeah, I try not to either. It's certainly the fact that came up so close to lunchtime, I know was unfortunate.
I don't know. I'm just like Joy Reid saying Trump's clown car is about full. I'm telling you.
Why did Joy Reid say that? When did she say?
Because she hates the guy. She don't care if he makes everything great. She'll say Donald Trump hates this. What is wrong with these people? I haven't gloated like I should be. I should be calling here and going, "Hey, Matt. Hey, Vinny, what's happening, buddy?" I don't hear much out of their mouths, do I? I'm just so sick of you people cutting.
Why are you so sick?
You cut one side down.
What do you mean?
All you do is cut down Republicans.
I haven't cut down any Republican today.
Have you said anything about that Democratic Party in 4 years?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
If it is, it's very mild.
Yeah, well, what I said is Kamala Harris was not the best candidate for the Democrats. Kamala Harris.
She makes me sick.
How about this? Vice President Kamala Harris. There.
Yeah, see? You won't say Trump. You won't say President Trump. That
Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, see? You love her.
No.
Who'd you vote for? I know you won't tell me. I know damn well.
You don't know.
Yes. You liberal.
What do you mean? I'm just a guy. Just a guy who goes to work every day, does the best he can, and is just trying to serve the community.
Oh, listen, if you're such a big journalist, why do you waste 3 hours a day bugging people on here? I never understood that one either. How come you're not out chasing stories instead of wasting people's time cutting down one side and not the other? You get it?
I got it, man. I got it.
Yeah, I know. Boy, I got to give you credit. Nothing seems to faze you. You just
why would it faze me?
I don't know. You live in this puppy dog lollipop world or something.
What? Everything's fine.
Yeah, it wasn't under those idiots for 4 years.
Yes, it was. Everything was fine.
Yeah, right.
Well, except he hung up on me. Did you hear? Everybody hear that? He just hung up on me. It's 10:47 at WNBF with Bob Joseph. Oh my gosh! Let's take another call. I hope it's someone from Vestal. Good morning. It's 10:47. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Randy from the town of Dickinson.
Morning, Randy. What's up?
With Biden and Trump meeting this morning in the White House, I think it'd be a nice gesture if Biden, if it's within his power, or if not, to pressure Kathy Hochul into pardoning Donald Trump for his New York criminal trials.
That's what I was hoping they would announce. That's why I hope that the meeting is carried live, because I want to hear President-elect Donald Trump's response to Joe Biden when Joe tells the president-elect, "I hereby pardon you from all crimes you may have committed in the past and all crimes you may commit in the future. And I hereby request that Governor Hochul and the other 49 governors of the U.S. also issue pardons within the next 24 hours. I'd like to hear the response of President-elect Donald Trump when Joe Biden says that.
I thought that would be like a shining star for Biden to do something.
It
like
would.
That.
It would finally. It would be at least the first step toward actually rehabbing his image and actually trying to preserve some semblance of dignity for his legacy.
And what he could also do is pardon his son, sneak that in there. And I don't think America could complain too much if you're letting Trump go.
I agree. He could simultaneously pardon President-elect Donald Trump and also pardon Hunter Biden and also pardon Dr. Jill Biden for any crimes that she may have committed.
And maybe not announce this in public, but, have a gentleman's agreement between Trump and Biden where Trump will promise not to go after Joe Biden once he's not president anymore.
Right.
Sure
President-elect Donald Trump will agree privately not to do anything in terms of legal action or even to say anything publicly that would question the character or the integrity of Joe Biden or any member of his family for the next 12 months.
Exactly. Republicans claim they want to go forward. Digging up dirt on Joe Biden and trying to prosecute your enemies is no way to go forward.
That's right. So it should be, the motto should be, when they go low, we go high. Oh no, that's the motto. That's the motto up at the cannabis store up where the A&W used to be. When they go low, we go high.
If Michelle Obama ran, I think she would have won. She would have beat Trump.
She might run in 2028. So it'd be Michelle Obama against J.D. Vance, and then that would be a competition. That'll be close.
I think Joe Biden has done enough damage to the Democratic Party where they won't win another presidential election for another generation, unless Trump really screws up bad. But
he's not gonna.
I don't see that happening.
He is not gonna. He will not fail.
I hope not. I look at him as the landlord of our building, and I'm going to cooperate with the landlord, do all I can. I don't want to live in a slum. I want to live in a nice building. So I
want to live in a nice, shiny city on the hill. That's what I want.
I just want a nice country, a nice, safe country, and I want every American to do well. And that's why these people calling up complaining about his appointments or whatever. Hey, let the man put in whoever he wants to put in. And
that's a good point. So if he names the pillow guy, as the Secretary of Education, that's okay by me.
Hey.
By the way, thanks for laughing at that. Thank you for chuckling.
If Trump's not doing if these people he hires aren't doing a good job, he's going to get rid of them quicker than you could say Jackie Robinson. So,
here's the thing. You know what? Just between you, Randy, and me, why don't people have a sense of humor anymore? It seems like the past week. Now, I understand some people who, shall we say, were on the losing side of this. I can understand them not having a big sense of humor and maybe being sad or maybe angry. That I kind of understand. But for the people who were, shall we say, on the winning side, those who have supported President-elect Donald Trump all these years, why are they so angry? You would think they would be joyful and looking forward to the next 4 years instead of excoriating little people like me who, my only crime is I do the best damn talk show in Binghamton.
And I don't know if you remember me, probably about 6 months ago, I've called your show, and I was a big proponent that Trump should be punished for January 6th, even to the point where he probably should be hung. But if you said that, I can't remember you actually saying that. I hope you didn't say that on the air because, in my opinion, nobody should be killed for anything they've done. That's just my philosophy. You don't kill people. He tried to overthrow the country.
But you don't kill people for it. If
you do.
No.
Yes, you do. Look at other countries.
This is not another country. This is the USA. So this is not a country. that goes out and kills people because they've done something wrong. This is a country, if you've done something very wrong, then you may have to go away anywhere from 30 days to the rest of your life. You may have to be removed from society for a particular period, but we're not going to kill you.
Can I touch on immigration really quick?
Oh, I was hoping you would. Yes, please.
Okay, deportation's not going to work. I mean, it's logistically impossible. I think, these people, they're not really citizens. They shouldn't have any rights under the Constitution. We should just people's concern with the immigrants are, they're all criminals. They're going to break the law. 95% of these people are probably honest, hardworking people. It's the 5% you want to go after. Why don't they just make stricter laws? Like if an immigrant commits murder, automatic, you give him a trial. If he's guilty, death penalty. If an immigrant's caught selling drugs or illegal possessions of weapons, put them on a chain gang. Bring back the chain gangs.
It sounds unduly harsh.
Why? Because some woke person said so. I mean,
no, that's my opinion. That's just one person's opinion. Just a guy. I'm not. Don't confuse me for Dan Bongino. This is Bob Joseph speaking, and so I don't want people to be treated that way.
Well, they're uninvited guests in our house. They should follow the rules of our house.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and not only
scare them straight.
No,
that's the way I look at it. Scare them straight. Pass tougher laws against it, and specifically target these people. If you break the law, you commit a murder, and you're found guilty in a trial, death.
No.
Yes.
I say no.
Yes.
Well, we'll hear what the other listeners say. Like I say, I'm just one guy. I'm saying you don't kill people. Killers kill people, and in my opinion, governments should not be killing people.
He who lives by the sword perishes by the sword.
Oh. But you don't kill people.
Money and effort.
You don't kill people that way. That's like lowering yourself to their level. You're going to kill people?
Protect our country. We're not going down to their level.
Well, then protect our country. If they break a law and are convicted, then they go to prison.
No, death.
No.
That guy in Virginia right now, his trial's going on, right? For Lake and Riley. If he's found guilty, he should be put to death. Set an example to these migrants. Hey, you kill an American citizen, you're going to pay the price. You're not going to go to jail for 5 years and get out on bail or parole. You're going to be put to death.
You're talking about actually execution.
Yes, they should bring back the death penalty.
With what? A firing squad?
I don't care how you kill them. Just bring back the death penalty.
What, on TV?
No, not on TV, but they should bring back the death penalty for these migrants, illegal people. They should bring back the death penalty for everybody, and other Americans that kill other Americans too. Bring back the death penalty.
Starting when? When would this start?
It'd have to be passed by Congress. Well, once Trump gets the trifecta of the branches of government, it might be possible to bring back the death penalty.
I don't think they will.
Well, I hope they do. I mean, society's falling apart. Hey, thanks for listening to me, Bob. You have a good day.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for calling
bye.
in. Yeah, I don't think they're going to bring back the death penalty, but hey, I've been wrong before, and you've heard it live on the radio, so there's no reason to think I'll be correct this time. My gut feeling is they're not going to do that. Doubt it. But then again, stay tuned. We'll see. More calls coming right up. I'm Bob Joseph, live on WNBF. 607-772-1290 is the Binghamton Now hotline. So if you have a hot idea that you'd like to share, the rest of the class, feel free to dial in and enlighten us. Enlighten us. Let's take a look at some email. This is from Gary on the west side. Oh, Bob, the former guy is now the future guy. Thank you, Gary. So the point Gary on the west side is making, President-elect Donald Trump was the former president, and now he is the president-elect. So the former guy is now the future guy. Thank you for the clarification, Gary from the West Side. Dave in Binghamton writes, when on Binghamton Now, not a journalist. When reporting the news, journalist. Binghamton Now is a talk show with opinions. That is exactly true. This is a talk show. And Dave writes, similar to Geraldo, when fighting the skinheads and KKK on his show, not a journalist. When drawing in the sand while embedded with the military, sure, journalist. Yeah, who could forget? Geraldo. Live TV, or at least look live. I don't know if it really was live TV, but Geraldo, with his thoughtful journalism and drawing in the sand the troop movements for the U.S. military, that went over well. So, and as I replied to Dave from Binghamton, it's a good point. It's different doing a newscast or writing an article about things happening around here. So when I'm reporting the news during a newscast, which you may hear in the afternoon, throughout the afternoon, we have news updates. That's different. Or if you see the stories that I've written at WNBF.com or hear those stories during our news. So that's Bob Joseph performing, I believe, a public service as a journalist. Now, on this program, Binghamton Now, as I wrote to Dave, I do offer opinions. I also wrote we could do a C-SPAN type show with relatively little input from the host, but that would be a rather boring 3 hours. So that's my opinion. Now, having pointed that out, some people may say, well, then why don't you do that? Basically, a call. Unfortunately, I don't have a call on the line right now, or I would illustrate it with a live call. Actually, with the next call, I will illustrate or demonstrate on live radio how a C-SPAN host might handle this talk show. I probably will only do it for one call because personally, I don't think it would be a very interesting program. I don't think it would be very interesting for me, and I don't believe it would be that interesting for most listeners, even those with whom I may have a different worldview. I'd say most listeners would say, yeah, we actually want to have some spirited and unpredictable conversations. We don't want something approximating C-SPAN. I look or listen to some of the C-SPAN shows from time to time. I just wonder, how do those hosts actually handle it? Because it seems after doing 1 hour of that, you'd be bored. You'd be bored to tears. I'm not saying I couldn't do it. If C-SPAN hires me to do a program like that, yes, I could do it. I just wouldn't find it very interesting or challenging after about 1 hour. Okay, here's an example. It's 11:15 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Bob, good morning. This is Vinny from Binghamton.
Good morning, Vinny from Binghamton. What's on your mind?
Bob, you sound like a robot. What's going on there?
Because I am demonstrating a C-SPAN type program. So in case people were wondering what that would sound like, it might sound something like this.
Yeah. No, we don't want to hear that stuff. That's too,
well, caller.
robotic.
Thank you for calling, and I will allow you to express your opinion in one moment. I will do this C-SPAN style presentation for one additional call coming up, and then I'll revert to the way I do a live radio program, so our listeners might be able to better appreciate the different approaches. So, caller Vinny from Binghamton, please continue with what's on your mind on this Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I'm real anxious to see. I don't care who he puts in his cabinet myself. Pick whoever you want to put in there. Trump, you go right ahead. But I just can't wait, Bob, until he's in there. I really do. And I really want to see these things that he promised the American people. I'm like I said before, I'm up in the stands now. You know, Trump supporters, you got it. This is what you want. We're going to sit back and just watch. I can't wait. I hope he goes after Social Security too. I hope he tries to privatize it. I see he's got Elon Musk in on all this import. I don't know what Elon Musk is doing on there. I really don't. I'd like to see him get rid of the Department of Education. I want to see how that happens, and maybe close the CDC. It's one of those things, Bob, where you don't miss something until it's taken away from you. Basically, you don't know how well you have until it's taken away from you. And I'm going to tell you right now, one of my New Year's resolutions, Bob, is I'm going to go down to 3 supermarkets on December 31st. I'm going to go to 3 supermarkets. I'm going to take the price of milk, large eggs, a box of cereal, and bacon. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to come back in July. I'm going to see if these prices went up or did they go down. Because most people that talk about, it's the economy, they don't know the difference between a 401k and a little piggy bank. They don't know.
Thank you for your call. It's 11:18 at WNBF Radio. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is DJ from not C-SPAN, but from the DJ span. How are you today, guy? Bob? God bless you, man.
I am well. What's on your mind?
Well, always a lot. What do you think about the appointments? Not the dentist appointments or the doctor appointments, but the appointments. We got 3 New Yorkers in there: Lee Stefanik, Meliotakis, Nicole, and Lee Zeldin, whose bust I signed with a black magic marker, with their permission, of course. Remember that when he came to the Oakdale Commons? We love all politicians, Bobby. All right, stop the C-SPAN thing now, because we got to talk. Seriously.
We'll see what the other listeners have to say. DJ from Binghamton, thank you very much for offering your thoughts this morning.
That's all I get? Hey, wait a minute. Oh, boy.
Do you have additional thoughts, DJ?
Yes, yes, DJ has an additional thought. Let me think of an additional thought. Today's Wednesday, so it's hump day for you, Bob. And no vacations coming up, right? Let's see. Santa Claus's birthday, you'll have that up. Thanksgiving, how many days you get out for Thanksgiving? D-Day of, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, thank you for your call, DJ. 11:20 at WNBF Radio. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Vic from Herkimer.
Good morning, Vic.
I'm a first-time caller. Oh, no, really, I'm not. I'm probably a 50th time or maybe 100, maybe 1,000th time caller. But anyway, I think the CDC is a good thing in one way and a bad thing in another. Look what Dr. Fauci did. I don't think Trump will get rid of CDC without putting something else in place. As far as the Board of Education, it's already been a proven fact that when the Board of Education was installed in 1973, our education levels did nothing but go down. It needs to be turned back to the states like it used to be and not become a federal thing, because then you have too many laws that govern our schools. Whereas the states, like New York can fail as New York, California can fail as California, and Kentucky can fail as Kentucky. But as far as having the government in charge of everything, I think Elon Musk is going to do a great job. Look what he did at Twitter. He got rid of 80% of the workforce, and it still works. I'm sorry about that. There's an alarm going off in the house. Probably a smoke detector. I'm probably going to die in the next 10 minutes because I'm going to talk to you. But anyway, elections have results. I've heard Vinny say that before. I've heard everybody on the show say that before. Most everybody. I don't think I ever heard Beverly say it. But the people have spoken, not Trump, not Biden, but the people. And that's what we got to keep remembering going forward. I was totally against Biden winning because I'm one of those who believe the election was stolen. And according to calculus, how did he lose 20 million votes from 2020 to 2024 as far as Kamala running? So, there's so many things that are wrong out there. And the only way they're going to get right, Bob, is if we quit bashing each other, going after each other in our statements. We just come together as people. And we, have discussions where hate is not involved, discussions where we can talk policies, talk politics, and get things done. And both sides contribute, or all three parties, or four parties, or whatever it is. But it's time this nation come together.
Vic from the Forks, well, now in Herkimer. Thank you for your call this morning.
Hey, you have a great day, Bob.
Thank you. It's 11:23. WNBF Radio. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Bob again. That's perfect. That's the way to do it. Vinny had his say. Vic had his say. DJ had his say. Without you going, wait a minute, back at him. That's the way. All right. Do it. I might start listening again if you do it.
Bob, thank you for your call this morning. I hope you have a good afternoon. This is WNBF, live at 92.1 FM, 1290 AM. Streaming at WNBF.com. It's 11:25. Let's go back to the busy phones. Oh, Dave from Vestal. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning there, Bob. Hey, I'm going to disagree with my friend from Vestal there, Bob. Bob, your interjections are needed. That helps makes the show.
It does. It makes it a better show for me and for you.
Yes, it does. I mean, sometimes we don't get to say everything we want to say because you get on a roll and you get...
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, you don't need to tell me about it. You think you hear the program a lot. I hear every darn thing. Every scintillating second I'm subjected to it. At least you can turn it off. I have to be here for the whole 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll take that as a vote of confidence. We tried the experiment, and I'm glad I did because I think we all learned something of value. But I also think we managed to prove that WNBF in the hands of a professional talk show host is a much better thing than sort of going the C-SPAN route and boring people to tears.
Too bland, Bob. Too bland.
Exactly.
I like the other way.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
All right. You got it, man. 11:27. The people have spoken. The people want real talk, not somebody who is there just gently holding your hand. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Bobspan. Welcome to Bobspan. Take that for about 30 seconds before I fall asleep. You need real radio. That's why Marconi invented the radio. Marconi didn't invent the radio for people to be bored to tears. Marconi wanted people to be enlightened and excited and sometimes engage in provocative and occasionally amusing conversations. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing to fear. But MSNBC itself. All right. Let's take another call on those hotlines. Good morning. You're on the air at 11:28. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Boy, what a very interesting day, Bob. It's Jesse from Owego.
Thanks, Jesse.
I think today is Bob Day. Bob versus Bob.
I was going to say, it's a Big Bob Wednesday. Big Bob Radio.
I like it. All we need is for Tanya to call in. I'm not going to say from...
Yeah, no, don't say where. Here's what I
not?
want. Between now and noon, I want either a call from Tanya or Felicia. See what I'm saying?
I'm Jessica.
Yeah.
And I'm Jessica from Owego.
Absolutely. Jessica.
I just changed.
And I'm going to start referring to you as they and them. Hey,
There you go.
How are them apples, Jessica? Jessica from
Better than
Owego.
a strawberry.
You know. By the way, I mean let's be perfectly clear. This is not the program for sensitive viewers. If you're sensitive, maybe you better slather on some sunscreen
Well, I think it's maybe some shaving cream.
or something. Yeah, call what is her name? Benny Bell.
That might work.
With her shaving creams. So what's going on in Owego today?
Oh, not a whole lot. Not really. It's nice and sunny. The weather's deceiving, though. You open up that door, boy, you get a
brisk.
blast in the past.
Brisk.
Ooh,
It's like that Lipton iced tea. Brisk.
Yeah, one thing about this show, Bob, and I wish people would discern the difference. You are a journalist and you are a reporter by trade, but this is a talk show. This is opinion talk show. Why can't people discern the difference and realize that?
Well,
takes
and
a
you can
little
do
bit of
both. And what some people will say, well, it didn't used to be that way. Remember Walter Cronkite on the CBS Evening News? Well, yes, Uncle Walter became regarded as perhaps the most trusted man in America because in that rigid format, during the years he anchored the CBS Evening News, he was not in a position to give his opinion. He rarely did. He did eventually about the Vietnam War, but that was one notable exception. For the most part, Walter Cronkite, during his 28-minute nightly broadcast, Monday through Friday, kept his opinion out of the newscast, which isn't too hard to do because during a 28-minute newscast, he was probably on camera for about 2.5 or 3 minutes. Most of the CBS Evening News was generally pre-recorded package reports from correspondents. So, of course, there was no real point and no relevant place in the broadcast usually for any opinion, so that was easy. This is a 3-hour daily extravaganza. So if I wanted to just read basically 3 hours of news starting at 9:10 and then continuing till 11:58, I could do that, but I don't know how many people would stick around for that.
I wish people really realize just how complicated this really is, because number one, you're lining up bumper music. Number two, you're playing commercials. Number three, you're watching your timer so you can get the top of the news hour. Then you got to do your station ID. And now you're reacting to all kinds of listeners, and you never know what direction it's going to go. So you just adapt and overcome. So how many things are you doing all at once, if you really think about it?
Yeah, it's multitasking, and I love it. But you are one of the few people who know some of what goes on in a radio studio. The average person, if you've never been here and never either attempted to do it yourself or at least observed how it's done. And I'm not talking, say, about a music show, because even back in the heyday of Top 40 radio, you had between 2 minutes, maybe 3.5 minutes, where at least music was on. Yeah, you still be busy doing stuff, getting the next record ready, commercials and all that. But you didn't have to constantly react to the totally unexpected. I have no idea. I'm just one little person with the microphone and the telephone, and I have no idea what'll happen. I show up here at 9 in the morning, and I have no idea what's going to transpire for the next 3 hours.
You know what? That's the best way to run your show.
Right.
It's the best way to run who you are, because you never know what's going on. It's not like you're thinking ahead of time and overthinking yourself. You just take it as it hits you.
Well, and also to be transparent, there are a few things. Say if I know a guest is going to be on, I'll say, oh, well, at 10:10 we have a guest, or at 9:30 we have a guest, so I'll keep that in mind. So I know we might be speaking with someone for 5 or 10 minutes, and then maybe I have some specific questions. But for the most part, the program is fluid, and the listeners drive the show. I mean, I'm the moderator. I host it, so ultimately I have, for better or worse, I ultimately get the last word, and that's just the way it has to be.
As long as you keep offending, that's probably what really makes this show. I don't know what it is, but it just cracks me up to no end.
Well, let's be clear. I can't think of a single person who's ever called in the program who I haven't interrupted and probably wound up cutting short when they had more they wanted to say. It's just the nature of the program. And it's not because it's mean. It's just because that's how live radio works.
But what you're also doing at the same time is you're making people think. I mean, if you're gonna get the nerve to call in to a talk show, try to think about what you're talking about, and don't make an idiot out of yourself. Try not to, anyway.
Well, but having said that, if you've never called the program before, don't be afraid, because we've all made our first call. I've called talk shows before, and I remember the first time I called a talk show, the first time I called Larry King when he was on overnight, I was nervous. And then I called him again in a few weeks, and then I wasn't nervous. But so I get it. If you call for the first or second time, of course you're going to be a bit nervous. But after you've done it a few times, it becomes second nature.
I think change is good. And that's how this radio show kind of works, because it's ever changing all the time. It's not like you're going to tell me on this radio show, here's what's going on next week. Here's what's going on next week. It's not like you get sheets of paper and it's like, this is going to happen at this time, this moment, this time. It's like, no. So you use the word correctly, fluid.
And
that
fun.
That is good when you can run off the hip.
It's fluid and fun.
And that's all that matters, Bob.
Thanks, Jesse.
You have a great day.
1136 WNBF. The real show. Again, if you're sensitive, if you're really sensitive, this potentially isn't the show for you. Sensitive viewers may have to switch over to The View, so you won't be disappointed and upset with what you hear. The View is more your speed. Hi, WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, now they miss you. See, that's the energy and the voice that we all know and love, Bob. And I've been on here several times saying that experience is equal to, if not better, than college. I've always said that as far as being a journalist, 40-plus years.
Well, and
we all know the deal.
And the people, let's face it, the people who pay attention to this station understand what's going on here. Now, for the handful of people either who don't get it or more likely pretend not to get it, the people in this case, the one particular case with someone suggesting that I need to use a title when referring to a certain person. No, I don't need to. I can if I want. And that person can when he wants to. We're not dealing with royalty in this country. We're dealing with other people who, hey, sure he's richer, sure he's smarter, sure he's more loved, but he's not a better American than you or me.
That's right. Hey, and did you see when Kamala asked him, is it okay if I call you Donald? He said, sure.
Yes, that's a good point. Thank you. And I think even the caller acknowledged that Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump, would not be bothered in the least if he heard me on the radio calling him Donald Trump or Don Trump or even Donnie. The guy, he's just a guy. He's happy. He won. And now he's going to lead the best country in the world for the next 4 years. So He's happy. He doesn't give one darn about how people address him. He's just happy people talk about him.
That's right. Darn those people. No, I don't want to say that because that really means damn those people. I don't want to say that.
No. So,
it's people that call up and don't understand you, Bobby. They don't understand you, Bobby.
Well, that's fine. Whatever. But I will have to say, in a case like that, once I made the point and then I think repeated the point, and then I thought, well, maybe the third time's the charm, and the caller would understand that in America, it's not like in, I don't know, across the pond where, His Majesty or Your Royal Highness. This is America. We don't have royalty. We have leaders. We have a president. We have a governor. We have a county executive. We have a mayor. We have town supervisors. I don't care who they are. They're as good as everyone else.
That's right. And neither do I. And we have a host and a caller that people love.
Exactly. Beloved.
Yes.
Thank you.
The ones who know us.
Thank you. It's 11:39 WNBF. President-elect Donald Trump is meeting with Joe Biden right now. Wow. To be a listening device on the wall. Gosh, I hope there are tapes. With the Binghamton Now program continuing at 11:41, Diane from Halstead. Good morning.
Hi, let's get on the lighter side of things. Where are the monkeys? There's 13 of them left.
Yeah, hey, where are the monkeys?
Hey, we're the monkeys.
Yeah, and people say they...
Remember that song?
Yes, I do. And I want to know what happened to the monkeys and why America is being kept in the dark about Monkeygate.
I believe there was 13 left in the woods yet. I heard on the news.
Yeah, I heard they were heading to New York State. They wanted to go to an animal sanctuary near Elmira.
I don't blame them. They're research monkeys. They're probably afraid.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're probably trying to find out how to get into Kathy Hochul's house. Because they heard that she has a bunch of bananas.
Yeah, they love them. Yep. And we got to get on the lighter side. We have to have humor on this show, too. Come on.
That's right. Yes,
and give some humor.
A little bit of humor. As Reader's Digest used to say before they went out of business, laughter is the best medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
I didn't know they went out of business. When did this happen? Not too long ago?
Oh, actually, they still are in business. They have a website. Hold on. Let me just check their website. Reader's Digest, a trusted friend in a complicated world. I'm looking at their... Oh, no, apparently they still have a print edition. Oh, this is a good one. You can get it in large print. So I will be able to read because my vision isn't what it once was when I was 13. When I used to like the Reader's Digest, and I'll tell you why. Because every year around this time, we would get a bunch of Reader's Digest magazines, and then... in school, we would fold the pages and we'd make little holiday trees out of them, and then we would spray them with silver or gold spray paint. So, and then we would use just enough of the silver and gold spray paint to make little holiday trees out of these Reader's Digest magazines, and then we would take the leftover spray paint home, and then we could go on graffiti runs at night, and our teacher would say, "Bob, did you use the silver and gold spray paint to write WNBF on my car?" And I'd be like, "No, I don't know who did, Teach."
What was that? In grade school, we used to fold things and make.
Oh yes, we did that too.
You fold it back and forth, back and forth.
Yes,
back and forth.
Yeah, like those little. What is it? It had a name.
I know.
Oh, well, some listener knows because let's see. Maybe the
Somebody
internet knows.
call in and tell us, please.
Yes, please, because I forgot. And you could lift up the little flap, and then you'd have little funny sayings.
Or didn't it have you could make a tree out of it?
You could.
there was a way to fold it certain ways where you could make a tree and all these ornaments or something. I can't place it now.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, there's a thing here on the internet how to make them. They call it a mystery paper folding activity. That's not what we called them, but it shows there's video of they say it's a paper fortune teller or a chatterbox. Whirlybird. It says they had a whole bunch of names. I can't think of what we called them in school, but you could make those things according to the internet. And now they have a thing here. Let's see. Oh, this is exactly. It says some woman wrote to the internet. Anna wrote, we used to use these in school. She said her kids made them and used them. They seem timeless. Says a search online calls them either paper fortune tellers or chatterbox. But yeah, we called it something else.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks. Now we're on to something. Now we've made progress. Finally.
We'll have people call in and tell us what they know about what they had when they were in grade school. And when I was in first grade, all I got was a tablet and a pencil, and I was happy.
That's about And, now in first grade, they give you an iPad and then everything else. And it's like, when we were kids, plus, even if we had 10 feet of snow, we still had to walk to school. And we had to get there early to help shovel. If there was a lot of snow, we had to get there and shovel the parking lot so the principal had some place to stay. Thank you for your call. Oh, from Halstead, 1146 at WNBF. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Bob. James from Medwell.
Hey, James.
I just want to say I'm a little concerned, about the Trump administration and what they'll do with the environment, but I'm ecstatic that he's going to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I was going to say Robert F. Kennedy. Put him in charge of the health department. He could be the health secretary. He could give better health to Americans. He could impart, and he also could tell what to do when you hit a bear on the road. You don't put the bear in your trunk and then dump it off in Central Park.
Well, if that were me, I would have put it in my trunk and eaten it. I've done that with deer before.
Speedies. I'd save it. I'd put it in the freezer and save it till August and have a special recipe down at the Speedy celebrations.
They're almost as good as lamb. But
nothing's as good as lamb.
I think Kennedy's going to make America healthy again. I honestly do. Get all the pesticides out of the foods, fix the processed foods, and get the artificial food coloring out of our system.
So does that mean he's going to take? Will he? Starting in January, take immediate action against Velveeta?
What's Velveeta? Oh.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's what the kids always ask. What is Velveeta? I don't know.
Oh, that's that cheese that has the yellow cheese. That's awful. That stuff.
Wait, hold on. I'm looking it up online. What is Velveeta? The internet would know. It's probably like cheese. Oh, here it is. It's a brand of processed cheese product that's shelf-stable, orange in color, coincidentally enough, so maybe it won't be outlawed because it's orange in color and has a smooth, mild taste. It contains milk, cheese culture, emulsifiers, and other fine ingredients. The FDA doesn't consider Velveeta to be real cheese because it contains processed ingredients that are not illegally required for cheese, plus it's orange.
I didn't care for it when I was a kid. Didn't the government hand that stuff out for free to different schools and things at one time?
Not Velveeta.
No,
but it was.
Okay.
It was government surplus cheese. Remember that? Remember those food directors for a couple of school districts locally got in trouble? They got jammed up for.
Vaguely,
I think they were stealing. They were stealing food, and a guy who ran a very well-respected local supermarket company. They apparently took advantage of the government surplus food program, as I recall.
Yeah, vaguely I remember something about that. But, that's the other thing. Kind of get the school lunches straightened out, some healthier foods, less junk food in their diet. Because, as he says, 1 out of 3 kids these days have diabetes or pre-diabetes, and you don't see that in other countries that eat healthier. You don't see that in Europe or France. They eat very healthy. You talk about obesity and stuff, and he's going to take care of a lot of things. So,
all right,
psyched about Kennedy getting
how
in there.
fast will he take care of it?
Real fast.
All right.
Trump says he's going to let him run wild, so sounds good to me.
All right.
But he's going to reel him in after when it comes to energy. But I'm hoping he turns the administration around and let them see things differently when it comes to the environment, because it really is a conservative endeavor to prevent pollution and to take care of our soil and air and water. So I think he'll have an influence there. It's really positive.
All right. Well, I know it's going to be fun. Thanks, James. It's 11:50 at WNBF. So I looked up one of the stories, and the legendary and beloved investigative journalist James Odato had a story because he actually looked at the federal documents, how that food conspiracy worked, because that's what this was. I was referencing the food conspiracy going back 40 years. In 1984, according to federal documents, an employee at the beautiful Binghamton Argo restaurant told the FBI government food at the restaurant was illegally used, and that report touched off a federal investigation in which 60 pounds of government cheese was found in a rear cooler at the Argo. I love the Argo. I never had any of that misappropriated cheese. I know. The USDA investigation was tied to information collected by the FBI since 1978 about alleged illegal activities of, I'll just say Mr. Bill, owner of the warehouse with a state contract to store government foods, and of a snack food plant called Flavor Kitchens. Do you remember them? Chips, Flavor Kitchens. The USDA searched Flavor Kitchens in Binghamton and found 17 cases and 2 cans of peanuts, a bunch of oil clearly marked as government-donated foods. So a grand jury met and then indicted 5 Broome County men, and they were accused of conspiracy to steal thousands of dollars in USDA food. So 4 of the men, the guy that I'll call Mr. Bill, I'm not going to mention the other people now, they all pleaded guilty to charges contained in the indictment and were sent to the big house, that's prison. And then sadly, the 5th indicted conspirator died shortly after the indictment. So according to the story from James Odato, the legendary journalist, reporting back in the Press in Sun Bulletin in 1985, he said, the testimony of unindicted co-conspirator, I won't mention his name, was an owner of a popular grocery company in Binghamton and Endwell. The arrangement to steal government food started in 1976 when he and some of the other guys who were lunch directors for Union Endicott and Binghamton schools, they thought it would be a good idea, apparently, to take advantage of all this government food. So it says the food lunch directors in Binghamton and Union Endicott agreed not to take all that they were allotted each month from the government for school lunches. So the grocery guy paid those men half the value of the stolen items in cash. And then he sold the stolen government food in his lovely grocery stores and to some food businesses. So what can I say? I mean, the rest is history, and I certainly don't want to relitigate past felonies, but still, just goes to show how well a government surplus food program can work. Yeah, do it again. Do it again. It's 11:54 at WNBF. I know. That's sad. It's sad. Oh, here's the story, in case you are like some other people wondering what they were going to do with that White House there. Nobody's living in this White House. No, not the one in Washington. The one at 188 Court Street, that White House, right next to the original Giant store. So you have the first Giant supermarket on the right side and then St. Mary's Church on the left side. So you've got this White House at 188 Court Street, just sitting there waiting to be torn down. And so now, after several months, apparently the demolition crews can move in and tear that thing down because they need 7 parking spaces. So this house that was built in 1885 could soon be torn down so they can have a bigger parking lot for the building, the former Giant supermarket building, which is now leased out to Guthrie. City Planning Commission clearing the way. So Broome County developer can demolish the 2-story structure. So they all have decided that there's, at this point, no good reason to save that house because we need more parking in downtown Binghamton. During a public hearing, City Councilman Nate Hotchkiss said he opposed the planned demolition because it was designed only to create more parking. And he said it seemed similar to past urban renewal practices that were frowned upon and ultimately had negative consequences for cities like Binghamton. So they bought the house last December for $140,000. And so for most of this year, they've been working to get approval to tear the thing down. So one of these days, maybe now, I don't know. Maybe now. They could tear it down now while I'm here on the program. So they'll tear the building down. Most recently, it had been used as a law office. The Preservation Association of the Southern Tier had expressed strong opposition to the move to tear down the house. That group said the building's distinctive materials, architectural features, and examples of fine craftsmanship remain intact. So Broome County historian Roger Luther said the owner is giving the Preservation Association the opportunity to salvage items from the house before it's demolished. So maybe some of the items from inside the house could be repurposed or recycled. So I've got some pictures. If you want to see what it's about, you can take a look at WNBF.com with the information about that story. We'll also have more information about the upcoming IBM Endicott demolition after we spoke with Broome County Executive Jason Garner on Tuesday's program. I did speak directly with Chris Pelto, who oversees the former IBM site, which is now the Huron campus, and did say preparations are underway to start the demolition maybe by the end of this month or early next month. So it may finally happen. I know people say, but you keep reporting the same story over and over again. No, we keep reporting updates on the story. We don't control the timetable, but we do keep you posted so you at least have a sense of where things are going. That's our program for today. I'm Bob Joseph. Enjoy your afternoon. I'll be back here tomorrow on WNBF.